The world we all live in is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And the rate of change just keeps accelerating. In this course, we're going to explore how to navigate, thrive, and become a game changer in this VUCA world. You know, a grand chess master navigates complexity through a deep understanding of the game. Similarly, the extraordinarily complex game we call life requires players to understand the source of the complexity, that is humans. So throughout this course, we're going to be deeply focused on understanding humans and what drives, motivates, and restrains them. But importantly, the purpose is not to learn how to win this game of life. Our goal for you is a greater understanding of yourself and the world around you in order to leave it better than you found it. That's what a game changer does. Throughout this course, you'll be asking a few big questions. Why are you here? And that's not just only why you're here in this course, but actually why you're here on this planet and in the given community that you're in. Who are you here for? You'll hear a lot about who. When most people talk about innovation, they talk about products and services and business models. We're going to be pushing you to talk and think about who. Who are you here for? Who are you here to help? So what are you going to do? What new products, services, and business models do all those who's need that they can't get now? And finally, how? How are you going to serve, help, and supply all of those who's who you're passionate about helping? These are the four key fundamental questions many people ask themselves at some stage throughout their life. You almost certainly won't get clear answers in this course, but the fact you're thinking about them is the best place to start, because it may take your entire life to discover the answers. I hope you do it a little bit earlier than that. In this course, our aim is that you learn how to discover a better way to solve an existing problem or create a new opportunity that people need or want. How to gather and validate evidence a new idea is worth pursuing. And finally, how to develop a business model to exploit this new idea. It's just so important you go on this journey before you invest your money, lifetime, and your organizational resources. You know, many entrepreneurs and innovators don't discover until it's too late they have built something people just don't want or need. So a key insight you need to keep at the front of your mind is just because you can doesn't mean you should. We're going to teach you how to determine if risks associated with pursuing a new idea are warranted and how they can be mitigated and balanced with the likelihood of success. Primarily, we're on a should we journey, not a can we journey. The can we path is relatively predictable, controllable, and somewhat linear. The answer quite often is usually yes, we can, with the main risks being how much money will it take and how long will it take. The should we question is much harder because it involves understanding what people want and why, a process that's immersed in ambiguity and uncertainty. Sadly, the reason most products and startups fail is because the answer to the should we question is usually no, you shouldn't have. But if you validate the worthiness and the need for the idea first in the searching phase, then and only then you should go ahead and design, develop, and deploy your new idea. Therefore, innovation fundamentally starts with understanding human behavior and then working out how to influence it with a business model and associated products and services which consumers, customers, and stakeholders really want and need. Designing the new products, well, that comes much later. Here's a key insight that we learned from Kurt Lewin, who taught us in the 1960s that all human behavior is held in its current stasis as a result of the opposing, driving forces for change and the restraining forces for status quo. It's these opposing forces which maintain behavior. The field of clinical psychology has studied human behavior for decades. and has learned that removing restraining forces is much more effective than increasing the driving forces for people to change. So restraining forces are those things that stop people from changing or trying something new. These can be functional, like how much something costs, but usually are more social and emotional and tied to the risks of trying something new, which they aren't familiar with and may not even work. We see this play out every January. Many people set New Year's resolutions to get fit and healthy by eating better and maybe working out. And this explains why January is the largest month for commencement of gym and weight loss programs. Initially, new members attend the gym regularly, 3 to 5 times a week. But almost 1/3 of customers abandon their membership throughout the year, while many reduce their attendance levels. You see, the desire to look great and be healthy is a strong driving force, but for many it is overwhelmed by genetics, conflicting priorities, socially or emotionally driven poor eating choices, or maybe the fear of failure. These restraining forces represent a sometimes more powerful conflict between the aspirations and the actions. While some individuals successfully overcome these, some do not. For many, these restraining forces hinder them from achieving their stated goals. However, within this tension lies an opportunity for innovation. When individuals are unable to realise their aspirations due to existing limitations in products, services, or business models, it can prompt the emergence of an innovative idea. This explains why the most recent weight loss interventions are focused on apps using cognitive behaviour modification tools to help people consume less and exercise more. For the purposes of this course, our definition of innovation is a novel intervention that results in a sustained deviation from the status quo in any societal context, as evidenced by the increasing customer or stakeholder engagement. Innovators must recognise that emotional and social driving and restraining forces wield significant influence over human behaviour. This fact has long been exploited by the marketing industry and adept politicians. People alter their behaviour patterns either when the driving forces become overwhelmingly compelling or when a new option eliminates existing restraining forces. Therefore, what we're trying to do as an innovator or a game changer is helping people achieve their wants, enable their dreams, and avoid their fears. That's fundamentally what innovation is about. And that's hard, really hard. The reason why it's so hard is because humans are so incredibly complex. David Ogilvy, one of the most successful marketers in the 20th century, explains why changing human behaviour is so hard. David said that people don't think what they feel, they don't say what they think, and they don't do what they say. So you can't just ask them, what do you want? Because in reality, most people can't tell you. The reason humans are so hard to understand is that we typically are not very good at introspection, looking inside, analysing and reflecting on why we do what we don't want to do and do not do what we want to do. So human behaviour is complex, which is why understanding humans is the best place to start to explore opportunities for new products, services, and business models. There are 2 primary skills you need for this course, and conveniently, to be successful at understanding people: curiosity and humility. These 2 personal attributes or characteristics are interdependent and require you to be truly and sincerely curious about people and their choices, values, and behaviours. But to be truly curious, you need humility. One person once described humility as not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking about yourself less. It's others focused. In fact, Brené Brown in Atlas of the Heart describes humility as openness to new learning and humble people as curious and willing to adjust their beliefs when faced with new or conflicting information. You see, you can't learn something new if you're not really listening. You can't really listen if you don't control for your own assumptions and biases. This is why we need what First Australians call deep listening, or Dadiri in some Indigenous languages. Modern psychology and anthropology have a similar process called ethnography, and it requires one seeking to understand to stop, look, listen, and think. By asking good questions and observing background practices, we can uncover unsatisfied jobs, unresolved pains, and unrealised gains, which might just lead us to a successful innovation. You know, most new products and new companies make too many assumptions about what their customers want, and they fail because they were wrong. They're usually wrong because they didn't take the time to really understand what their customers wanted. The answer to this question informs the bigger should we question. That's a great place to start as a game changer, and this is your job in this course.